Welcome to the Canarian International Meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. My name is Mossy and I am an alcoholic.
And my name is Mick and I am also an alcoholic. We're both serving as your secretaries today. Please join us for a few moments silence to remember the still suffering alcoholic inside and outside this meeting.
And Wes is going to read the preamble for us.
Hi, my name is Wes. I'm an alcoholic.
No, Wes.
Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of people who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other, that they may solve the common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. AA has no dues or fees. It is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Thank you.
Thank you, Wes. And a warm welcome goes out to any newcomers or anyone returning to Alcoholics Anonymous.
The chat is now disabled until the end of this meeting, except for the meeting host. If you feel the meeting security is at risk at any time during the meeting, please private message one of the co-hosts so they can check it out.
And that's it, folks. As you know, today is our old timers meeting, so everything is cut short. Miss J is joining us this evening. She is 49 years sobriety. She has a story to tell, and I'm looking forward to it. Miss J, you've got 45, 50 minutes or whatever you like, because I will not stop you talking. There you go, love. It's all yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Wes. Thank you, Wes, for inviting me here. Oh, I love you so much. You know, I do. I'm just so grateful for Alcoholics Anonymous, you know. I didn't know anything about it. Thank God I do. Thank God I do. I have a short story. I was born in a small town in Mississippi, and I have a twin brother, and we were the only children around. I had 3 aunts, but neither of them had a child. So my brother and I was the only 2 children around. And it was so strange to me because my mother would do things for him and wouldn't do it for me. She always loved him and she like hated me. She said I was like my daddy, and he was no good and I would never be any good. And that's all she always told me. And she would do beautiful things for my brother, but she never did any of it for me. And so I didn't have anyone to talk with. You know, in those days, grown people didn't listen to children as they do today. You know, I say all the time, had it been times like this, I probably would have been taken from my mother, but I couldn't even complain to them because they would say, you can't talk bad about your mother. So I was just there. And the only friend that I really had was a dog named Brownie. Brownie was my friend. Brownie was there with me. Everywhere I went, Brownie was there with me. Brownie slept in the same room with me, and always just lovely, lovely friends, you know. And whenever she would do something harmful to me, when I got loose from, I would always run to Brownie, ask Brownie why. Brownie is the only source that I could ask why. There's nobody else just paid any attention, you know. So I grew up that way, and we in those days in the South. I know you never probably heard anything about this, but the South was very prejudiced in those days. The Caucasian people was always better than we were. Always, they was everybody, everything, and blacks weren't anything. We was like slaves, you know, and we just worked for them. And I was raised on a farm. My grandparents owned their own farm, so that's how I was raised. And all the rest of the black people, you know, they worked on Caucasians' farms and just this was really treated really rough. And they always paid attention and would would respect anything a Caucasian lady said. So my grandfather got afraid for my brother when we got to be teenagers. He was afraid that if there was a school of nursing there in our town, and that was long before television or anything else, mostly electricity, it's a long way. So growing up, I wanted to play the guitar. And my grandmother said I couldn't play the guitar, only men played guitars. And she forced me to take piano lessons. I took the lessons and learned, but I never did anything with it. I wasn't interested in a piano. And my brother, I taught the piano lessons to my brother. And he's made money with it. Oh, he picked it up and oh God, he went places with playing the piano, but I never did. So so that they got afraid for my grandfather got afraid for my brother because the nurses was inviting us over to their home every Saturday night. It was long before TV or anything, to entertain us. And my grandfather thought that if one of those Caucasian nurses said my brother looked at her funny, that would be the end of his life. I've seen many black people hanging in trees. The Caucasian men, they would put 10 or 12 of them would come to the house at night and overpower the family and take my brother out and kill him. And there was nothing said about it. Not a thing said about it, And so by that time, my mother was living in Chicago, Illinois. So my grandfather wrote her and told her he wanted her to come get us for the fear of losing my brother, losing his life. She didn't want to take me, but he said, no, they're twins. They've been together all their lives. You will not take one without the other. So she had to forcefully take me. She didn't want to, but she did. So we're in Chicago now, big town, know nothing about anything, So when we got to Chicago, one of my aunts took me and another aunt took my brother. We never did stay with our mother. Never did. So we was in Chicago now and everything. So we grew up in Chicago, we liked it. So anyway, when we got grown, my brother went to the Navy, and I stayed home. And I started dating a guy there, and I didn't know anything about anything. So anyway, I got pregnant, and in those days, if a girl got pregnant, she married somebody. She married somebody. So I was my husband called me before we got married and said, "Hey," said, "let's go downtown Saturday and get married." Said, "My mother is about to make me lose my job." So every day she's off from work, she's on my job, telling them people what a no-down scoundrel I was. Got my daughter married and got my daughter pregnant and won't marry her. We going downtown to get married. And that was the only reason he went to get married, was to get my mother off him, we were young, neither of us knew nothing about nothing. So anyway, I married him, had a child, everything. And a friend of mine, I knew nothing about drinking alcohol or nothing, So I started, after we separated, well, he just walked away, he just, So anyway, I started talking to this man. This man started talking to me. And he took me out on Saturday night. Let's go. I said, "Where are we going?" He said, "Yeah, we're going drinking." Drinking what, So he took me to a bar and bought me a drink. And I loved it. Oh, I fell in love with the first drink. I liked that. It did something to me. I felt different than I'd ever felt in my life. So I liked that. So I look forward to Saturday night, going out with him so we could drink. I enjoyed it. But something happened. It got to the place I couldn't wait until Saturday night. I didn't understand that, but I wanted to drink before Saturday night. So I started leaving my little boy at home by himself and going to find the next bar and getting me something to drink, and at first that was nice, and it was okay. I go back home to him, and everything. But I don't have to tell y'all what happened. It got to the place I didn't go home. Only God took care of my son. God knows He took care of my son. I didn't go home. I didn't know what was happening. It was strange to me that I wasn't doing that, but I knew I just kept doing it, I just kept doing it. So what happened to bring me in years later, I did that. I just drank. I just drank. And I would get a job and work on the job, but I couldn't keep the job because I'd be, late going to work in the mornings. I didn't understand what was going on, but I had to always go get me a drink before I went to bed, And I just didn't understand what was going on, and there was no one to tell me what was going on. I just did that, So what happened? Say what brought me in here, Alcoholics Anonymous. I got barred from every bar in that town. I would, after getting barred from the worst bar, as I was saying to the police lady as she was escorting me out the door, I said, don't nobody get barred out of here. She said, ma'am, you just did. And I only got barred out of that bar. The next bar I went to, they see me walking the door and threw up the hands. Oh, can't drink in here. Everyone, oh, you can't drink in here. And I was completely lost. In the meantime, as God would have it, before then, we missed a friend and we wondered what happened to him. So he walked in the door one day and he looked different. He looked like y'all looked tonight, today, whatever time it is. His face was clean and his hair was combed and he was smiling and had on clean clothes. And nobody looked like that where I was. So I always said, where you been? What happened to you? And he said he had been to AA. And he said he got in trouble at work. And his boss told him, you either go to AA or go to jail. So, of course, he chose AA. And out of all the people in that bar, he pointed a finger at me and said, you need to go. I cussed the man out and told him I didn't know AAA car insurance and kept on drinking. I don't know how long I drank. I really don't know how long I drank. But when I got barred from all those bars, that started me to thinking, well, maybe if I didn't drink so much alcohol, maybe that's what helped me. I never started not drinking at all. I never said that. But I just thought if I drank a little less. So after he told me about AA, I started thinking about that man. Gave me that number that day and told me to call. I needed to go. And as drunk as I was, and as long as that had been, I know now it was God, I was able to find that piece of paper that man gave me with a phone number on and told me when I guess got sick and tired to call this number. And I called the number. I called Alcoholics Anonymous, and they told me where to come and what day. And I did. I got up that morning. I stayed awake all night worrying about what y'all was going to do. I thought men was going to have hats on and jackets, and the women was going to have on long skirts and headscarves, and they was all going to have big sticks and beat me for doing wrong. That's what I thought was going to happen in there. But I thought they can't do no more in there than I've done out here. I can't even go drinking. So I went, scared to death. I was so scared. And when I got in there, it was so funny. Y'all was laughing and talking and drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes. And I said, this must not be the place. So I turned around and run out the door. And this old lady caught me, begged me to come back. She said, it's only an hour meeting. You can stay for an hour. Maybe you'll hear something you need to hear. Come sit with me. I'll hold your hand. I sit there, I went to sit with her, and she held my hand for a long time. But I sit there. And when the meeting started, that really surprised me. I got the shock of my life. I heard women talking, and they were telling my story, y'all. Do you believe that? That lady was saying the things that I had done. I thought I was the only woman in the world doing the things like that until I went to my first meeting. I'm so grateful to God. When they found out that that was my first meeting, they changed the meeting to a newcomers meeting, and that saved my life. When I heard those people talking, I really felt as if I could stay there with them. And that was August the 4th, 1976. And I've been with them ever since that day. I've never had another drunk day since that day. I just kept coming to meetings. I just kept coming. They told me to just keep coming to meetings, And long after that, they started telling me talking about sponsors. I didn't know what that was. They told me about a sponsor, and I got a sponsor. And they told me to do what the sponsor said. And she would always tell me to come on and sit down. And she would tell me to take the cotton out of my ears, ram it in my mouth. And I said, why I got to do that? She said, so you can shut up and listen. Why I got to listen? Because you don't know a damn thing. That's what she always told me. You don't know nothing. You sit down and let us tell you something. And you know, I did that. I did everything my sponsor said do. Everything she said do. And I've been here ever since then. Now, I cannot tell y'all that it's been peaches and cream. No, it has not. That's why I say you need the newcomers, you need this program. This program would take you through anything that can happen to you. I guarantee it can. I had 2 children. I had a boy and I had a girl. And the boy was older than the girl, 7 years. And I love those kids. And I did the best I knew how to love. I love my kids. So my kid was grown and she was grown and gotten married. My daughter was grown and married and had a little girl. And she called me one day and told me she was sick. So we went to the doctor, and the doctors told her she had cancer. Do you know, I watched that child. I took care of my daughter and watched her die. That's the worst thing a mother can have. To watch her child die is a feeling that you get from nothing else and no one else. But I'm so grateful to God that I was sober and able to stay there with her. She and her husband was separated at the time, and she had one little girl who today is my power of attorney today. So I watched her die, watched her child cry, and helped raise her until she was grown. And when she died, I was telling one of our friends about it, and he said to me, well, Jessica, how long you been sober now? I'm sure he just assumed that I drank, you know? And it really shocking to me. It's the first time it dawned on me. I said, you know what? I said, it's the first time I'm thinking about it. I never thought about drinking while she was gone. That was shocking to him and to me. And I never thought of drinking since I stopped drinking. Never. Whatever happened to me, drinking is not ever thought about. I had a few drunk dreams, you know. The last drunk dream I had has been years ago. And I didn't drink the drink. I poured it out. In my dream, I poured it out. And that's the last drunk dream I've ever had, you know. Today, I'm happy, joyous, and free. as I say all the time, as a broken-hearted mother can be, I think of my daughter every day of her life. She's been dead since 96. I buried her in 1996. And I think of her every day of my life. I've talked to other mothers who had the same experience, and they say the same thing. So I guess that's just part of it. She'd always be with me. But I didn't take the drink. I want to say to the newcomer, I want to ask you to just stick and stay in here with us. Just stick and stay. Just don't leave. I guarantee you will not regret being in here with us. Do what we ask you to do. Get a sponsor. Trust that sponsor. Find a God of your own understanding. Now that is really something for me. I'm so grateful for this program. I think my grandfather thought when we was growing up there with him, I think my grandfather thought the preacher was God. I really do. We were Methodists. He would go to the conference every year and select the man he wanted. They always gave him to Brother Jones because Brother Jones was going to take care of him if no one else did. So he selected a man one time named Reverend Shaw, and they were working on the house that he was to live in. It hadn't finished. So naturally, my grandfather brought him to live with us. They had just built my own bedroom. I think I was about 10 or 11 years old. And I loved my bedroom. Oh, how grateful I was for my bedroom. And this grown man, every time he would catch me alone, he would tease me. Goody, 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 I got your bedroom. And I hated him. But I was afraid to say anything to him because he would laugh and say, won't do no good to tell Brother Jones. He won't believe me anyway. And I believed that. And I thought, I tell Papa that, he'll say I'm lying on the preacher. He might beat me to death. I never said a word about that until I was grown. But my thought was, as soon as I was old enough to say no, it was going to be to church. And I lived by that for years, not church. When my kids got old enough to go, travel alone, I didn't stop. If they said they wanted to go to church, I never stopped them from going. But I would tell my daughter, if that preacher look at your heart, come tell me. I'm pretty sure I'd still be in prison if I was still alive. Because I'm sure I would have done something, tried to do something to that preacher. That just stopped me from, thank God they told me I could choose the God of my own understanding. When I had never heard nothing like that before. They always told me what you got to do. I asked my sponsor, was that true? And she said yes. And that's when I really sit down around the tables of Alcoholics Anonymous. When they told me that. Find a God of your own understanding. That's what I did. My God is not a he nor she. It's a spirit that dwells within me. That's what works for me. It has worked for years for me. So I say choose a God of your own understanding. Get a sponsor. Do what the sponsor say do. Go to meetings. Reach out and help others. That's AA. That's AA. Trust God, clean house, and help others. That's what I live by today. Today, I'm living in a nursing home today. Someplace I never thought of living. I always thought I'd be dead before I got here. A nursing home that I just never thought of living in. But that's where I am today. And I thank God for this program because one of the greatest things you all have taught me is to accept the things I can't change. Now, I live by that today. I ask myself, if anything is going on, I'm hard to accept or something for me, I'll ask myself, is there anything I can do about it? If the answer is no, I don't spend no time with it. I leave it alone. I put it in my Creator's hands and move on. And I'll find something I can do about something. And I'll move on. I'll move on with my life. I refuse to have a bad day in this program. I just refuse. I will not have a bad day. I may have a bad moment, but it's not long before I ask myself, is there anything I can do about it? And I move on with my life Because 9 times out of 9 times, there isn't a thing I can do. That's how I live my life today. One day at a time, one moment at a time. I live my life that way today. So I just want to say to the newcomers, just stick and stay with us. Let us love you till you learn to love yourself. We want to do it, but we cannot do it without your acceptance. We cannot. You guys, how much we want to. We can't help you unless you want to help yourself. I pray that today that you want to help yourself and join us. You'll be happy. We'll be happy for you. One day at a time. You know, I don't know how long I had, but I'm sure there'll be other people who want to share. So I just want to let them share, let them enjoy this day. I'm just so grateful to be here with you. I'm just going to leave you now, and I can't thank Gus again for inviting me here for the wonderful day I've had here with you people. I just want to say God bless you and have a good day. Let us love you one day at a time. I forgot to tell you about my mother. You know, when she told me, when I heard my mother say that day that something good about me, that was a highlight of my life. Today it still is. I've been asking my God for years to just let me hear her say one kind word about me. When she did that day, that was on a Friday, my grandson came in that town. You know, grandparents are crazy about their grandchildren. She's been calling for him. I had been telling him to come look after her. She wanted to see him. He drove in that Friday with his family. Called me and asked me could I keep my grandson that Saturday because his mother-in-law wanted to go to the hospital to visit mother too. And I did. I was so happy to keep him Howard. Oh, that was so happy. I was sober and we just had a ball. My granddaughter was the first one to come to the house that day. And she said, "Oh, Mama, I'm glad you didn't come to the hospital today." I said, "Why?" She said, "Grandmama clowned." I said, "She clowned? What did she do? What did she say?" And it seemed like they all got together and had a little mini meeting and discussed what they were going to tell me, because every last one of them told me the same words. They weren't going to tell me what she said. They were just glad I wasn't there to hear. Do you know today, all of them are dead today but me and my children. Do you know, I don't know a word my mother said that day. I thought one of them would sneak around and tell me something. You know that nobody's told me a thing. They didn't want me. My creator didn't want me to hear what she said about me. That was that Friday. That was that Saturday. That Sunday, guess what? I forgot to visit her. Do y'all hear me? All the time I'd been going to the hospital, I forgot that Sunday to visit her. And that's the Sunday she died. You hear me? My creator wanted the last words for me to hear her say was something kind about me. So I just said that to tell you all, just if something's going on in your life and you're praying about it, don't stop praying. Just keep praying. Just keep praying. When your creator gets ready for it to happen, it'll happen. That's the way it's done for me. I've spoken with others since. They've had similar experiences. So just stick and stay. Don't leave. Trust God. Clean house. Help others. And I guarantee you'll be all right. One day at a time. Thank you so much for allowing me to share. God bless you. Thank you.
Miss Jade, thank you so much. I can barely speak after listening to your story.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful lady. I'm really glad you came. You have a strong message. I identified with a lot of it. I was always told you're no good, you never will be any good. I was told you can't do it that way. There's no way it's going to work. And because of this fellowship, I've done things my way and they've worked. But the one thing I have done, I was at a meeting one day early on in my sobriety, and this guy walked in and he said, "You need to sit down, shut up and listen. You have nothing to add to any meeting that I go to." And I didn't like him. I didn't like him the way he spoke to me. But I shut up and I listened. And I started to get what this program is all about. I was lucky I had another guy that threw the big book at me. And he wasn't very polite either. But he promised me a life beyond my wildest dreams if I'd done what I was told. And as a result of that, I learned how to be a father, a husband, a son. I learned how to be a brother to my siblings. And with two of them, I haven't spoken for 25 years or more. Because addiction is rampant in our family. But I do pretty good as a father. I do pretty good as a husband. I do pretty good as a friend because of this fellowship. And all that guilt, shame and remorse that I carried my whole life is gone. I'm free. I'm really glad you joined us today. I'm really glad I got to hear your story. And at that, I'm going to hand you over to the dinosaur of our group. Take it away, Mick.
Thank you, Mossy. Dinosaur. I'll give you a dinosaur. My name's Mick and I am an alcoholic, and by the grace of God in this fellowship, I don't need to take a drink. Miss J, fantastic. I was with you all the way, listening to your story, and I was thinking, crikey, I thought I had it hard as a child. And I was a bad one when I was a child. I was always in trouble with the law and everyone, and and I thought it's my parents' fault, everyone's fault. I came into this fellowship and I was afraid to tell you my story because I thought you wouldn't like me. And I told you my story and you felt you loved me for it because it was the first time I started to get honest. I was never an honest person, and my sponsor didn't let me get away with a but. If I said yes, but, he used to say, I ain't talking to you, you're trying to get out of it. And he's right. This fellowship has given me everything I need in life today. Not what I want, but what I need. And sometimes it's been a struggle, but I've followed what you people have suggested. And I'm here, and I don't usually say this, but I'm in my 50th year. Well, I'll be 50 at Christmas Eve, sober, but I've been in AA over 50 years, and that's because you people have made this program so attractive to me that I've got to keep coming back because I know I can't do this alone. I need you people. God bless you all.
On the promises, of course she is. There you are, Karen, you're unmuted.
Thank you, Mike. Good evening, I'm Karen, I'm an alcoholic. The AA promises. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we're halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past, nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? We think no. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize if we work for them. Let me.
Thanks, Karen, for the promises, and Wes for the preamble. Philip doing timekeeper, Nigel for doing the screen sharing, myself and Mick for doing the hosting, and of course, Miss J. After an amazing share, I think you lifted everybody's heart. Just amazing, just amazing. So thank you from the group for everything, for joining us today in your service.
The reminder that we have a meeting on 7 days a week at 8:30 a.m. UK time. We also have a lunchtime meeting every Sunday at 1 p.m. UK time. This is a meditation meeting.
And Saturdays is 6 p.m. UK time. We have our old timers meeting, an extended share recorder for the archives. And Thursday evening, we have a meeting at 7:30 p.m. UK time. The same code is used for all our meetings.
Stick around for fellowship after the meeting. If you want a breakout room after the meeting, please let the hosts know.
And who you see here,
What you hear here,
when you leave here,
let it stay here.
and all we have to do now is wrap up the meeting. If Miss J would like to lead us out with the serenity prayer. And thank you so much, Miss J, for everything.
Serenity prayer.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, God, grant me the serenity.
Grant me the serenity to accept the courage to face things I can, and the wisdom to know the
Please stay. Please.
Amen.
Thank you.
This was
Thank you, Miss
beautiful.
J.